APUSH documentary, Why We Fight by Nate and J.P. Cooper. For its first century, the U.S. followed a script written by George Washington, one that warned against entangling alliances and preached a foreign policy of continental isolation. By 1898, that script was rewritten. The explosion of the USS Maine in Havana Harbor ignited more than just the Spanish-American War. It catalyzed America's debut as a global power. This wasn't merely a fight for territory like Guam, Puerto Rico, or the Philippines. It was a shift in ideology. Driven by the economic necessity of mercantilism and the need to secure foreign markets, the nation embraced the self-appointed mission, the moral duty to spread democracy across the globe, even if it had to be done by force. In 1917, Woodrow Wilson committed American troops to Europe with an idealistic pledge to make the world safe for democracy. Yet, disillusioned by the aftermath of the Great War, the nation spent the next 2 decades retreating into unilateralism and isolation between two vast oceans. Then came December 7, 1941. The attack on Pearl Harbor fundamentally shattered the illusion of geographic immunity. World War II utterly transformed the home front, converting a neutral nation into the unstoppable arsenal of democracy. By 1945, the calculation for survival had permanently changed. American leadership recognized that oceans were no longer barriers to modern warfare. To guarantee national security at home, the U.S. committed itself to an unprecedented burden, maintaining permanent global stability by leading from the front abroad.
Your name is?
George.
Gotcha. My first question here is, did any of your family members, were they involved in the Second Great War?
Yes. I mean, other relatives, I think, I'm trying to think of, we had cousins of my father's, I'm talking. My father, John Morris, did serve, I think he's in for about 3 years, maybe part of 42 or 43 to the war's end, and he served in the South Pacific against the war against Japan.
Gotcha. What is your earliest memory of learning World War II from your father?
Oh, as a youngster, just occasionally ask him questions. He brought home some, I guess you'd call them souvenirs from the war. He had a Japanese flag that they had captured or taken off a service person. Brought like a sword, a Japanese sword from the war. So I'm sure I'd be asking questions about that. Like I said, he never initiated much about the war at all. I think times are different than where guys didn't really express themselves to their family about their war experiences.
Gotcha. Another question here. The generation that fought and lived through World War II is called the Greatest Generation. What does that term mean to you? And do you think it's an accurate label?
Oh, definitely. I looked at my father was born in 1914. In his lifetime, he went through the Great Depression and World War II. And both of those are life-changing events, for our country, for the world.
After World War II, the United States stopped trying to fight the containment of a dictator and his dictatorship, but turned to containing communism and not letting it spread throughout Europe. The Berlin Wall, a great example of the Cold War, the two completely different ideological nations and how different each side of the wall was. How Eastern Germans were willing to die to try to get to the other side of Germany for a better chance of life, and how the two supernations were fighting to one-up each other with new advancements in technology. One of the most notorious events from the Cold War is the Vietnam War and how disliked it was upon U.S. citizens, but it was also an unsuccessful invasion. The United States would end up leaving Vietnam, and eventually Vietnam would fall to communism, failing their main goal of containing communism. A moment in time that almost brought the two superpowers to a nuclear war was the Cuban Missile Crisis. The tension between the U.S. and the USSR were at an all-time high in this situation, and one wrong move could have changed the outcome of the whole world. Luckily, both leaders were able to calm the situation, and there hasn't been a close call since the Cold War. Everyone knows the day the war on terrorism started, September 11th, 2001, a day that shocked everyone and changed America. The terrorist group Al-Qaeda, located in Afghanistan, surprised not only the nation of America but the whole world too. The United States invaded Afghanistan in the following month of October after the Taliban refused to accept George W. Bush's ultimatum of handing over Osama bin Laden to the United States. The Taliban denied, so the U.S. planned to dismantle Al-Qaeda and then overthrow the Taliban regime for allowing Al-Qaeda to attack. It was the United States' longest war, and unfortunately the war ended with the withdrawal of U.S. troops. The United States went from a small nation not wanting to get involved in world crises, but as they had stepped into the light as a powerhouse of the world, they continued to find themselves in the middle. History has shown that as long as America is involved in world politics and economics, the military will be involved as well. An example in today's life is the economic conflict between the United States and Iran involving the Strait of Hormuz and who should control it, but also the political idea of not letting certain nations have nuclear weapons.